So, do you like movies?
I like movies.
Have you been watching them all year?
Sadly, yes.
Do you have those that you hate and those that you love?
Oh God, yes.
Do you want to talk about them?
Let's get this over with.
Hello, this is the Brothers Herman, and we are reviewing the movies of 2012. Best of 2012.
Well, I'm going to have to toss that up to two. And that would be Wreck-It Ralph and John Carter. Wreck-It Ralph was just kind of like a unexpected breath of fresh air at the end of this year. I was not expecting it to be that good. In fact, I went in expecting to hate it. And I didn't, which was, not only did I not hate it, I loved it. It was probably the first Disney movie at Disney Studios in a long time that I actually liked. Of course, that's because it had John Lasseter involved, so Disney basically made a Pixar movie, but I'm not going to knock it. So, John Carter, I feel bad for the guy that made John Carter, because basically he made a great movie. Wasn't an epic as it was advertised for.
Marketing screwed it up.
Marketing seriously screwed this movie up. Basically, if they called it John Carter of Mars and marketed it as Flash Gordon on Mars, which it kind of was, this movie probably would have easily made $100 million plus or made its $200 million budget back. But it didn't. And Disney ate $200 million on their bottom line, so hoorah!
So it actually cost more than $200 million.
Well, yeah, but they made enough back that it's really only a $200 million flop.
Well,
no sequel for us.
yeah, unfortunately.
So...
No sequel for Three Musketeers either, but... So...
Well, my pick for best movie of the year has to go to The Dark Knight Rises. It's honestly just impressive what this movie did. I mean, of course, your mileage may vary depending on whether you thought this movie was as good as or slightly worse than The Dark Knight, but it's awfully impressive that they managed to pull off that level of movie without Heath Ledger as the Joker, without any mention of the Joker, and put Batman sort of like gracefully into retirement and sort of close off the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, and it was just it was epic and well deserving of a Batman movie.
And going for the Batman Beyond ending rather than just, you know, foisting it off into more of your classic Batman, that was a good move. For my take, I'm going to go for the exceptionally controversial and choose Avengers. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to have a hard time with this one. Actually, I feel bad because this is such an obvious choice, but the reason I have to go with it is that Marvel really was trying something exceptional here. They didn't know it was going to work. There was a lot of money laid down on this thing. And if it had failed, it would have been an epic failure. But fortunately, it was an epic success. And I think that that kind of gamble has to be rewarded. So, I mean, it's not just the fact that it was a good movie. It's the fact that it was such a risky, good movie. And that's why I say it's the best of the year.
That sounds pretty good. All right.
But there were a lot of good movies this year. There were also a lot of bad ones. So
And then there were their share of the ones that weren't bad, but they were so much more of a letdown. The ones I'd throw up as a major letdown would be Bourne Legacy. Coming off the Bourne trilogy, it had some big shoes to fill. And it seriously didn't even try to fill in half of them. It just kind of started from scratch, brought in a whole new series of writers, and said, hey, you know all that stuff called canon and backstory? Yeah, we don't need that. We're just going to start from square one and explain the history with something entirely new that makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, genetic modifications for Jason Bourne? I mean, I'd never heard of that, but it's got to be great, right?
Yeah, it wasn't... The acting was great, the action was good, the story was atrocious. But that's why it's a letdown. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It just kind of fell in a meh category.
You
Yeah.
can't blame the character Hawkeye from the Avengers. You can't blame him. He put in a great performance in that movie. I mean,
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, on my end, I'm going to go again on a different take of this one. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. This movie was not a letdown because it was too good, or because it wasn't good enough. This movie was a letdown because it wasn't bad enough. With a title like that, with a concept like that, it needed to be complete and utter cheese. Only then could it be the kind of movie I'd want to add to my collection. Something that is just so fun and enjoyable and stupid. And it wasn't dumb enough. The scenes that were action, the scenes that were crazy, were awesome. The scenes where he's campaigning to be president and all of that. Now, I understand the book did it better in some ways, but it also had its own problems, so you can't really blame it on either one, but it tried to be a stupid movie, and it failed, and was therefore an even dumber movie. Go figure.
and you?
so my pick for a really disappointing movie has to be Looper. Got a movie with Bruce Willis in it, which is of course extremely hard to do nowadays. You take a great premise, time travel, and meeting your past self and rectifying mistakes. Great concept. It's executed extremely poorly. It wasn't a terrible movie. The action was good. I did like the acting. There were some serious plot holes and some serious problems, and problems in focus too. It focused on the wrong areas, and it just did not come off as well as it could have.
There were some definite moral points that you know that it wanted you to take, but you honestly just couldn't because it didn't take you where it needed to go. And this movie could have been a great discussion starter if it didn't suck.
It could have been a great discussion starter if there was actually something to discuss.
Pretty much.
Like
Fair
Total
enough.
Recall.
But now we have to face the parts.
Oh,
I
God.
actually like Total Recall. I have to say, as a side moment, Total Recall straddles the line. And it depends entirely on what you think the ending was.
This is an honorable mention letdown.
I guess so.
Well, honorable mention, maybe good movie.
Yeah, if he was still in Recall, then it is actually a good movie, all right? But if he's not, if he's in real life, then the shoddy camera work at the end has no explanation. And therefore, it's a crap movie.
And the story has no explanation either. It's just really stupid pull out of your butt stuff.
Yes, you can actually say ass on YouTube.
Pull out of your
Yeah.
ass stuff.
Okay. So my point is, yes, if he's still in Recall, it's a great movie. You have to choose the crap ending in order for it to be a good movie. But okay.
Go figure.
But now it's time to brace ourselves because now it's
Worst
time.
of the worst, the most hated and cursed. The awful of 2012.
Oh.
Oh, who wants to start?
Okay. I'm going to pull a fast one here because I haven't been doing that all along. We started these reviews in late 2011. For us, it has now been about a year. So my worst of 2012 is going to be a 2011 movie. In Time. The movie which made me feel that I had just been physically assaulted by the film itself. And the worst part about it is you can see there was some genuinely good science fiction concept at its heart, but rewrites and an attempt to be a part of the Occupy movement. Who remembers that one? Really just hamstrung it. The plot makes no sense. The entire thing relies on people being abysmal to each other. It's no rich versus poor thing. It is humanity sucks. And the worst aspect of it is that the entire plot falls apart if people had cell phones. Hey, do not make fun of my diction.
It's a Freudian slip right there.
What is a plot?
Yeah, I mean, or
flop.
if somebody could have spared 5 minutes.
Yes.
The plot would not have happened. I mean, that movie was physically insulting. You know, it basically is just like, we think you're stupid. And for those of you who happen to have any basic understanding of economics and realize that this just doesn't work, well, you just, should go away now.
Yes. All right.
You.
So my pick for worst movie of the year is Cloud Atlas. And this, I'm just going to send an apology to anybody who's read the book at this point. I'm sure it makes a hell of a lot more sense if you read the book first. But this was a 3-hour just trudging through, going through 6 different plots, trying to keep them in your head, not quite sure how they're connected. Some weird devil plot, reincarnation. I mean, and then using the same actors. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I have a theory, by the way, because everyone talks about the Matrix trilogy, but we all know that the second 2 movies were not really connected to the first. We pretend they don't exist. But actually, if you spin them off on their own, Cloud Atlas might be a passable 3rd movie.
Okay, what I thought the worst movie of 2012 was, over the summer, no, actually last spring is when it was, a movie came out made by the same group that brought you Wallace and Gromit. It was called Pirates, or something to that effect. Basically, they took a lot of big name actors. We got David Tennant in it. We got Hugh Grant. We got Al Roker. I don't know why we consider him a big name, except for him being big.
Not anymore. Or did he gain it back? It doesn't matter.
No idea. And basically, the idea was to get all these people together and do a movie on pirates to capitalize off of the Pirates of the Caribbean, all the pirate movies and all of that. And this would have been a good idea if they'd done it a year ago when the pirate movies were still coming out. But that's besides the point. And then they got all these big names together. They got the Wallace and Gromit Studios, and they put a bunch of money into putting the characters together and getting the actors involved. And then I think about halfway through filming it, they came to the conclusion that maybe we should hire a writer to tie this all together. Because it was a bunch of shoddily put together vignettes.
But by that point, it was too late.
By that point, it was much too late, and the movie was atrocious. That movie, movie was almost, it was not as bad. It doesn't come close to Cloud Atlas. It doesn't come close to In Time. But the movie was just so hard to watch. It was so bad, he forgot about the movie.
I did. When we were putting together the list of worst, I was surprised because I had forgotten about Pirates, and it's so obvious it belongs on the list. But I mean, from my point of view, as far as it goes, there are moments that show what they were aiming for and could have been, but they're so few and far between, and the rest of it is just so boring and painful to sit through. Not painful as in like you feel like you've been stabbed, but just kind of like someone's taking sandpaper to my feet, and not in a good way. And
yeah, so now we're going to wrap it up, say what we're looking forward to in 2013. There looks to be a lot good coming down the pipe. I say for my part, I am looking forward to Man of Steel. Really looking forward to that.
Well, I think it's obvious what we should be looking forward to. Gone!
Some might say it's actually Elementary.
And for me, I am looking forward to some zombie movies that take interesting takes on it. Having read the book World War Z, I am looking forward to what they do with Max Brooks' work. I'm not fully confident they're going to do it right. From what we've seen, the CGI looks a bit crap, but hopefully they'll have it fixed up by the time they release it. Also, Warm Bodies coming out in February, and honestly, it might be the first time that there's been a zombie love story that doesn't look like necrophilia. So, because let's face it, zombies reproduce asexually.
It beats the alternative.
Exactly.
I forgot. I think also Lone Ranger's coming out next year. I just saw the preview for that. That looks really good.
It looks like it's, the real Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
What's not going to be fun is the new Stephenie Meyer movie.
Yeah, and on that note, thank you for joining us for the past year. This is the Brothers Herman. I'm Albatross.
I'm Snake Eyes.
I'm Ramnessus.
And this is the Brothers Herman. Signing off.